Hi everyone, today I'm talking about why I think Apple will go to $2.50 a share. Currently as recording this video, I have got a stock shares in Apple, which I bought recently on the dip that it's had, which has been a big massive decline really over the stock overall, one of the biggest dips that the Apple stock has had for a while. And really overall, there's one main reason why iPhone, the whole Apple has gone down that much, and that's because of the iPhone unit sales going down massive, and the decline in sales that's been going on. Overall, kind of like before this video, I wasn't really too much of a fan of Apple. I said that it's going to have a lot of problems with the iPhone, and it was well known for a good 6 months before the actual dip that iPhone sales were really struggling. We had a lot of manufacturers of the parts that were coming out and saying that Apple are decreasing the amount of parts that they're ordering, and that's affecting their revenue. So we knew this was happening 6 months ago, but it's really kicked in now. We've had a lot of media talking about it, but there was a lot of pre-warning out about it. And I actually did come out and I said that on a video before that I believe that Apple stock was going to crash, which I got a lot of hate for at the time because Apple was still around the 220 range and it had a Warren Buffett buying quite heavy. But I called Apple on that it would crash quite a bit and go down. Like I say, it got a lot of hate, but it did happen. That's what I believe would happen in the long term. And now I've kind of changed my opinion now and think that Apple will go up to $2.50 a share. Quite a few people had this opinion on Apple stock quite a while ago. Well, only 3 months ago people were talking about Apple going to $2.50, and now kind of more of the talk has gone to Apple going down to $100 per share. You know, it's kind of crazy how much a company can change, the feeling of the company with just in a few months, to just change from one side to the other side so quickly. It is really crazy to see something like that happen, especially with a company like Apple. But like I say, iPhone sales, unit sales going down were the main reason why the stock went down, and in the long term this could happen with, in the short term this could carry on happening with iPhone. The guidance could be cut a little bit more going forward, but in the long term I do believe Apple will go to 250. We're talking probably 2 years time rather than one. In the short term, in the year's time it could go up a little bit, but I think in 2 years time Apple would go to $2.50 a share, and these are kind of my reasons why. So my first reason, and probably the biggest reason, is that we have 5G coming out in 2019, and some people say kind of like 2020, and there's a little bit of argument when exactly it's going to come out, but that's kind of the feeling that 5G is going to come around at some point, and the current iPhones won't support it, so people have to upgrade to get a new iPhone to get 5G. And I think that's a big selling point going forward. I think a lot of people hold on to the iPhone, especially right now, and not upgrading as much, especially with the cost. The life cycle of an iPhone has definitely got a lot longer. You know, everyone used to do it every year, every 2 years, but like personally myself, I've had an iPhone 6 and I've kept that for a while now, just because it's miles cheaper. And the only thing that iPhone has really had over the last few years is that it's, increased your megapixel on your camera by like 1 or something, and that's been the big selling point overall. But 5G is a big game changer overall. I remember back when 3G and 4G was switching over and people had 3G iPhones, and you were loading stuff and it would take a few seconds for it to load, and then eventually 4G came out and it would only take a second for something to load, and people were like, wow, I need to get that phone. And now with 5G it's just going to be instant loading something up. So that's going to be good. I think it's going to make a big difference, and we'll get people upgrading the phones a little bit quicker going forward. So I think that's a big game changer for Apple, which should stop the iPhone unit sales going down so much going forward overall. Second reason why is that we know Apple's starting to go into the healthcare. We don't know exactly where they're going to go with this or what they're going to do, but there's definitely a lot of room to make money in the healthcare in the US, and Apple have realised the potential in that, and they are going down that kind of area to try and make some money from it. So it'd be really interesting to see what they do with that. The next one, or the third point I'm going to say, is that let's not forget Apple can buy any company they really wanted to right now. They've got a lot of spare cash on hand, and any company they wanted to do, they could go out and buy it. Even though they don't really have any history of buying companies, and it's not really in the Apple DNA to go out and buy a company, I think the only one they've ever bought is Beats. But if Apple really wanted to grow the revenue, they could go out and buy a company. I do hope they do this, to be fair. I really hope Apple buy out a company. It will kind of make everyone go, whoa, Apple are actually going to buy companies now. This could be interesting. And that would actually shove the stock price up quite a bit. You know, we only have to look at Microsoft. And Microsoft 5-10 years ago was a dead company. People weren't investing into the company. Revenue wasn't growing huge. But Microsoft had a big revamp. It started buying companies out. And you look at Microsoft now and it's just performing really well. People are saying it's like the best buy to have. I recommend Microsoft as the best stock on the stock market. So you only have to look at Microsoft to see how things can turn around with just buying out a couple of companies. And I think Apple, it would be great if Apple could go down that road and buy out a company. Like I say, they have the cash to do it, but I don't think it's in the DNA to go out and buy a company at all. Next point is, let's not forget this at all. The balance sheet on Apple is absolutely amazing. The PE is amazing. The dividend growth is amazing. If we look at a stock from just the point of a dividend stock, we've still great growth on the company. Let's not get it wrong. It's got great growth. We've got the Apple Watch. That's been a game changer. We've got services. Both of them are growing at great rates. You know, starting to take a bit of the heat off the iPhone that's just been the main product for so long. We've got the services that's growing quite well. We've got Apple Watch numbers that are growing quite well. I've seen more and more people going around with Apple Watches, so there's definitely a demand there for people wanting Apple Watches. So that's really good going forward. If we look at it as like a dividend stock, the P's like at 9, and we have like companies like Coca-Cola that are trading at P's of like 60 plus, Pepsi that are 30 plus, and people are investing in them just basically because they're a dividend company and they're just wanting to get that dividend payouts from them. But if you're using that as a dividend stock, you can go get Apple for like probably a better dividend with a massive lower PE and a better balance sheet overall that's going to be increasing the dividend. So this stock just applies to so many people, and you know, look how undervalued it is when you compare it to stocks like Pepsi and Coca-Cola. It shows you how much higher Apple should be right now. And the last point, which is just kind of my opinion, but let's not forget, Apple still own the biggest life product right now. So, you know, the product that you use in everyday life is your phone, or for most people, especially the younger generation. And the younger generation always want that new product. You go everywhere with your phone, and that main product isn't going to change in the next 5-10 years. Everyone's still going to be wanting a phone and upgrading that phone, and it's just a product that you just use so much in your day-to-day life that it's a company that's still going to be making a lot of money because you use that product all the time. You know, it's, you know, you got your life essentials like your house and your car, but your television and your phone tend to be two items you just spend a little bit of money on because you use them quite a bit just to treat yourself. And iPhone, I would say, is definitely the one like accessory that you have that you don't need to spend loads of money on overall, but you just use so much. And let's not forget, that's going to stay around with us for definitely the next 5-10 years going forward until something else eventually comes out and maybe takes over the phone. But obviously we don't know that now, but it's a very strong product that we use every day. So let's not forget how good the iPhone actually is overall. And that's my opinion, guys, why I think Apple will go to $2.50 a share. Like I say, I do own shares in Apple. I don't really plan to extend my position at all. If the stock was to drop a little bit, maybe I might buy a few shares. If it stays down here for a long time, maybe add a few more shares like towards the end of the year or next year. But I'm quite happy with Apple not being, it's not my main position, but I'm happy to own shares in here because I think in the long term, I think it will go to the $200, especially closer to the $250 per share range in the long term holding of the stock. So that's my opinion today on Apple, guys, going to $2.50 a share. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gave you some information. Thanks for all the support recently. It's been absolutely amazing on this channel. I've really enjoyed making the videos this year so far. Give the video a like, and I'll see you on the next video.